Blerd's in the game.
All right. Welcome back to the Geekset Podcast, only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and this is 101 with Deuces, the place where I speak with creators, curators, and people that you should know. And right now, man, I have a living legend in the making. If you are a Blerd, there is no doubt in my mind that you know this brother's name. And if you not, and you're just a fan of just like some of these content creators that you see right now, I guarantee you possibly saw his work. But I am speaking with the one and only Irving Lambert. Man, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing?
Man, we are doing great, man. Just like I said, just loving this culture. And shout out to Noriega and the Drink Champs. They make it, they made it normal to give people their flowers while they're here. So before we start, I need to make sure people understand why you are such an important guest. Because one, King Vader has been one of the biggest people, not in just Blerd culture, but as far as new creators, actors, visionists that are coming in the game. And you are his right-hand man right there with them with so much content and creation. Not only that, you are giving an identity to Blerd culture. You guys have created so much content, so much representation. You brought pretty much our comedy, our jokes to life. The things that we know is like this culture has a lot of if you know, you know, right? Yeah. And you guys have given us visual representations of those if you know, you know. And then not only that, the one and only Kel Mitchell, just his visuals for his book, his music coming out, you had hands in that. So it's like from this culture, and I know you see it at conventions when you guys premiere stuff and everything like that, so you already know. But I need to tell you verbally, man, from this culture to you, man, we appreciate everything that you bring to this game, and
I appreciate that.
We celebrate everything that you do, bro.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I did want to take it back a little bit because I wanted to start some, like, I like to get into people's Blerd origin stories, as I call it, and so I know that you're born in Queens, you're Haitian, Haitian family, but you quit your job and just moved because you had this idea like, hey, I just want to go to LA.
Yeah.
Where was you at that point that really, like, that was the other shoe that dropped that made you say, you know what, I'm doing this? Because I know a lot of people can't get there.
Will push me mentally, honestly. There was a time period, Vine was dying, right? Vine was already on his deathbed.
Yeah.
And then like probably the last couple months of Vine, I got a brand deal for Microsoft. And they're like, yo, we're going to fly you out in LA. And I was only in LA for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to fly you out to LA to try out this new product called the HoloLens. I don't think it's out. It's like, for sale, but they don't push it like that. So I went over there, did the HoloLens program. They flew me right back. I was in Michigan at the time. I was, northern Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, keep in mind, I just got done graduating college, all that stuff. And then I just got a small taste. Like, I already wanted to, do things. But when I got that small taste of, like, what could be your life, I'm like, cool. So, I'm at work, what I'm saying? I'm like listening to like various different like shows, all that stuff, motivational stuff. And then, I'm at work, and then, one of my bosses pulled me aside like, yo, normally you work really hard, but for the past 2 weeks, you've been underperforming. Like, what's going on? Like, I see something is off. And I'm like, can I keep it real with you? I'm like, and I told him, I'm like, this is not my like end goal. Like, I worked at a t-shirt factory.
Right.
And he was just like, oh, I know this is not your end goal. I already sense it. He's like, I already he's like, I'm already prepared for you to leave one day. He's like, because you already do this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, then that's a golden ticket. Then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, I was a manager there. Yeah. They put my job description up and Indeed and everywhere. Everybody's like confused, like, why am I leaving? But keep in mind, not everybody in the t-shirt factory knew I was doing videos and everything. And then, then I started getting advice from people. I pretty much sold everything, left with a hamper, and went to LA. Yeah, pretty much. I sold everything.
Yeah, I know that. And that's dope because you hear those stories, and then just even knowing like it wasn't easy selling like that, because you got to think, all right, there's so many hurdles that you have to go over. The first hurdle that you got to get over with, like that you got over, was making the decision to move cross country, right? So then you do that, and I know that. Now, did you drive? Did you fly out? How did you get out?
I drove.
So that I know that drive. Like, how many times did you contemplate turning the car around?
Actually, I didn't.
Oh, hey, that's super dope. That's dope.
I didn't. I was just like, I need to get there and get to work. Yeah. So I enjoyed I know a lot of people across the US, but so I made it enjoyable, you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, yeah.
Now, what was the family support like that, at that time?
At first, my sisters and my brother was all 100%. They were kind of like, yo, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? My mother, she's a traditional Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? So like, you can only imagine that type of talk, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she wasn't with it at first, but she's now on board with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always dope because my pops is military, right? And so, I always had these dreams, hip-hop dreams and all this stuff like that. And I remember there's you have those moments where that traditional parenting, that when it changes and they like, oh, I believe in they always believe in your dreams, but when they be like, oh, I'm not going to nag them about the financial aspect of it because it's actually working. And I remember, for me, it was like my pops, he had saw one of his old time friends, you know what I'm saying? So you think my parents don't really pay attention to what we're doing. And then he's talking to him, rambling off my accomplishments, he was in the source, he was in XSL. And I'm just like, oh snap, my pops really fuck with what I'm doing and everything.
That's
like that.
Really dope. Yeah.
Did you have a moment like that where when did your mom really was like, you know what? All right, I see it now. I don't gotta worry about you.
It was actually, I would say, either a year ago or 2 years ago.
Okay.
One or two things. I think it's when she saw the Halo Top commercial. That was
that's it.
I was in the Halo Top commercial, and she's like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? And then and she noticed Netflix Dreams when we were at Netflix. Yeah, okay. So she was like really like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm a stop. She'll sometimes she'll sometimes like, yo, have something like a just in case. I'm like, Ma, just it's not that deep. She's like, okay, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So, but nah, it was about 2 years ago. She was like, okay, now I understand what's going on.
Now, during this journey, you have stated also that you spent a good amount of years sleeping in your vehicle. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, while you're on this path. And I'm just wondering, what when you reflect back on that time and everything like that, and where you're at now and everything, what did that time period teach you? What did you take from that moment?
Oh, definitely. Not that I was arrogant or anything, but it definitely humbled me even more. It definitely humbled me even more, taught me how to have a relationship with the good old Lord, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And be real optimistic. And I usually, most of my close friends know I say the saying, it is what it is. Yeah. And I just accept the terms and condition and just keep it pushing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that time period is I learned a whole different hustle out of me. I hustled before, but I learned a whole new hustle, you know what I'm saying? To love, okay, this is survival, you know what I'm saying? Because legit, I could die in the car. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I could die in the car. So this is legit survival, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's it was an interesting time period, you know what I'm saying? But hey, it was like I tell people like, yo, like, do I recommend sleeping in the car? No, but if you
Of
got to
course
do what
not.
but if you got to do what you got to do, I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm 100% in on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then like I said, that's another hurdle that you had to overcome. Because you got to think, if you spent some years sleeping in your car at that, like you could have easily just went back to the crib, like, you know what, I'm just go back home with my family at. But you toughed it out, knowing that people normally only last 6 months in Cali. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
the average. That's the average. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's another hurdle that you literally had to overcome. Now, another hurdle that you had to overcome, like I said, you're like the quintessential like visual person representation of that, is that, like, you pivoted. A lot of people don't even know how to pivot. That's one of a scary thing. You were doing comedy. Like your whole handle name was, I think it was Urban Comedy. Like it was
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? It was like you were actually, you know what I'm saying, chasing that stand-up dream, doing it. You was on the news for comedy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like,
Yeah.
people would have thought that was your path in life. Now you're out here, you're director, producer, and everything like that. That pivot, like, what was the moment that made you pivot, that you was like, you know what? Because I know comedy is always going to be forever in you. So I know it's not necessarily like you left it alone, but it's like, okay, right now I'm focusing on directing and producing. What was the pivot moment for you?
The pivot moment, there's a time period that I met someone. They're like, "Oh, you're just a comedian." I'm like, "Nah, I do this."
Yeah.
And then immediately I'm like, so if it's just that staple that you think
Yeah.
I'm a comedian, I wouldn't want the comedian staple, because there's so much more I could do. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So there's a time period that I'm like, just making short form content, like, small skits here and there. And I'm like, nah, I want to make bigger stuff, because,
Yeah.
Eventually, social media is not forever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I utilize it, but, it's not forever. So I was just like, okay, what do I need to do to rebrand and all that stuff? Change my at name, all that stuff. And people are like, what's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I noticed like, my following dropped significantly, because they like the short form content
Yeah.
and the stand-up comedy. Nothing against stand-up comedy. I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'll go up there and say what I need to say. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I really wanted to create, like, my brain, like, I'm like, yo, I want to create this, like, whole new world and everything. So when I pivoted, it was a little hard to kind of, like, figure things out. But like, once, like, I threw that dart on the board, that's when I started
Yeah.
running and everything. Um, yeah, so that pivoting moment was a little tough. I know, it was a little tough. Like, when it comes to pivoting, I usually tell people, like, it's a 3-month transition, about like 2 to 3 month transition. You know what I'm saying? Because people, now I'm not posting every day. I'm not force feeding people. Like, I'm forcing people to wait. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, people know, if I don't drop for a long time, fire's gonna come out. You know
That's
what I'm
what I was
saying?
gonna say. Like, you've earned the luxury that, like, there's certain people that when you don't see them from a while, is you like, oh, they cooking. It's like, how, like, when you start seeing an artist pop out and they got a beard and now they hair is little, you like, oh, they in the studio about to drop the fire album. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Like, so, like, when I'm not seeing, your name pop up on stuff for a while, I'm just like, okay, I know he cooking up something. You know what I'm saying? I know something's coming. But this is what makes your content super interesting. And this is what, like, your content started like getting a lot of numbers during like the age of social media stars, right? Vine was popping off. You started getting the Batches, the Vaders, the Melvin Gregg, stuff like that. And then, like, each social media started fighting for creators, to do content, right? So then, like, your stuff started popping up. And in that realm and in that world, you have so many people who's like, look, just don't do nothing without getting the bag. You don't do anything, right? But your approach, you did like a mock-up Doritos commercial, which had so much residuals that, like I said, Kel saw it, Doritos saw it, like other company and people started coming to you because of this concept of turning Moses into an animated character. So it's like, in this type of world, in this day and age where people's like, dude, you don't do stuff without getting the bag, and you just decided to give like Doritos this free promo, but it worked out for you. Like, what gave you the mindset to do that, going against like the norm?
Yeah, it is a little taboo. I ain't gonna lie. It is a little taboo. So personally, it was more, yes, they are right. That, don't move unless, a bag is presented.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, how long, because I'm in a, like, as a creator / director, I'm in a very, very weird bubble. Mm-hmm. Like, some people don't even consider me as a creator, and people consider me, some people don't consider me as a director. So I'm like in a weird gray area. So I'm like, okay. So like, some companies are like, we love your content, but you just don't have the numbers. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, what can I do to find a way to even be in these companies? Yeah. I'm like, so I saw, I was just bored one day, and then, praying, and then next thing, I was just like, yo, what if I make a Bible character an anime character? I'm like, okay, now hold on. And I'm like thinking. I'm like, but how would I make it a commercial? And one day I was going on TikTok. One guy, I forgot who it was, but he made a spec commercial.
And then, those people be doing those spec commercials. Like, they be solid. So like, I feel you on that. Yeah.
Right. So I got inspiration from them. I'm like, I could do that. I'm like, what what's stopping me? So I'm like, all right, bet. So I called my boy Pierre up. Yo,
shout out Pierre, man.
I called Pierre. I'm like, pull up tomorrow to the beach. Call my boy Johnny to film it.
Yeah.
Then me and my VFX artist Drew, I called him. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking about doing this. He's like, yo, I've never done water effect. I'm like, well, then we're gonna figure it out together. He's like, all right, cool. So ended up filming it. Sent it off my boy Drew. He did his thing. He put his foot into it. He put his foot into it. Boom, sent it off. I did ADR, all that stuff, and I put it out. Not knowing, I genuinely not knowing that was actually a career-changing moment. So I just posted it out there. Christian blogs put it out there. I was getting calls and everything. And then I had met Kel before.
Yeah.
Like at a party briefly, but it was like everything was going on. But we followed each other, but that was like years ago.
Yeah.
Then he stumbled across it again, and then he DMs me, yo, I am doing a book trailer. You know what I'm saying? This was like, he commented, but like, I think like a month later, he was like, yo, I'm doing a book trailer to my thing called Bless Mode. Would love to do that, what you did for the Doritos, in my, trailer. I'm not gonna lie. There was so much going on. I almost said no.
Yeah.
I almost said no. I was just like, bro, I'm like, so I'm like, calling people. And then, ever since then, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna take the risk. But it was just a tight turnaround. That's why it was just like a tight turnaround. Like,
I definitely understand that, man.
So I was like, all right, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little scary. It was a little scary, but we was able to put our foot into it. But it was really cool. When I made that Doritos commercial, my mindset was just like, I'm just gonna put this out there and see what happens. Like, I don't like, end of the day, it's self-investment. That's the way I look at it. Like, what I'm saying? I'm investing hundreds or thousands of dollars to myself versus expecting to get it back. Because like, when I post these commercials, I don't expect anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't. But I want people to know, like, okay, he could put his foot into it if he needs to. Well, you know what I'm saying? If he has a back end.
And that's what I loved about it, because so in my like, I 100% agree with you in that investing in yourself. But to me also, you're changing what those commercials or what these commercials could be. One of the things that I love about the NBA right now is like, whoever is on that creative team over there, they're infusing anime in their playoffs promo, and they've been doing it for quite some time. But like, it's crazy the fact that like they just now did Kurokos. It's like, yo, y'all should have been like, how did y'all not been associate Kurokos basketball with, you know what I'm saying, with the NBA. But it was like, you know, last year they was doing Attack on Titan. I think they did Demon Slayer one time. Like, it was like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you're seeing that infusion. So now, you know, yeah, like we seen funny Doritos commercials, we've seen crazy CGI commercials, but we've never seen an anime inspired commercial. And so when you start seeing that, you're seeing that influence, is like, oh snap. And I love it because now also you guys are setting your imprint where like you can see without even knowing that you're a part of it, that you are a part of it, because you have a style to your direction with your team, your VX team and everything, right? So it's like we'll see certain stuff and I'm like, I bet you Irving Lambert did this. And I'm looking in the credits like, I knew it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like it's dope because like what you did with that commercial, it's setting those breadcrumbs to Netflix dreams, to everything, the Powerpuff stuff, like everything that you did is like, that's your demo reel that you're setting. So now when companies do it and see like, okay, who is Irving Lambert? Just like, oh, okay, we see what we're working with. Like, but you working with Kel Mitchell, also the big residual of that, which is really dope, is, you know, I had a chance to interview Kel and he couldn't do more than sing your praises. He loved working with you, loved your work and everything like that. But what I saw in that video was all the anime reference. And up until that video came out, Kel really didn't have that much talk about his Blerd anime love, comic books and all that. So when I saw that and I interviewed him, I latched on to that. So now I got one of the only interviews where Kel Mitchell is really going in about how he loves anime, the stuff that he works with, why he incorporated with his book. And I said, this is how you influence a whole culture, because that side of Kel would not have been exposed if he didn't meet you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's so dope. And that's why I love this culture, because I'm like, you know, as a fan of this culture, I'm seeing the influence go out to so many areas where people are like, we need to be in the business with, you know, with Blerds. You know, the one thing that I love that what Netflix allows you guys to do, you and Vader and that whole team over there, is that if you're a fan of y'all work, we know how you guys do approach and do things, right? Your guys' style of comedy, your guys' style of action and storytelling and everything like that. And we know, we've heard all those stories all the time of big companies coming in saying, all right, Irving, we're going to work with you, but you can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. And it's like, well, then this is not going to be me. And it's now just seems like, you know, you just wanted to use my name. When I see every episode of Netflix Dreams, I'm like, yo, they literally just said, gave y'all the bag and said, hey, do what y'all do, but use our IP. And I said, I love that, because it's like now, like y'all true creativity is coming through so much just with a bigger budget, bigger name, bigger IPs. Like, how refreshing is that for, you know, one of y'all first major, you know, major deals, major things that you're working on, to get that type of creativity freedom?
It is refreshing. It's also scary too. It is also scary because, like, our minds is a real playground, because, like, if you tell, my team and I, have fun, just bring us something, you're entering dangerous territories with me, like when it comes to like my mind.
Yeah.
So it is very refreshing. It is great. Sometimes there is some limitations because there's one of my projects, I sent off, I can't say it, but I was infringing on the visuals, and I was matching what they had, and they were just like, we don't know what to do with this because you are touching top territories. I'm like, I didn't know.
You told me have fun. Hey, you told me have fun.
So yeah, no, just having like, Netflix saying, here you go, have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. There's some limitations to make sure, to make sure like the script is right, making sure we're doing diligence of the story and everything. And most of the times they love it. They're like, wow, you know, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. But again, scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is scary.
But you know, this also what I'm glad that they're reaching out to create to producers and directors like you. And also I want to touch back on something. I am very intentional with my words, right? And so I just want to make sure that you know, like, I'm not calling you a creator out of any disrespect.
No, you're good. No,
I'm
you're good.
It as the producer director because like that's how I view you, bro. But I love the fact also for the longest we've as a culture in geek nerd culture, not even blerd culture, have always been like, man, how come these fan-made films are significantly better than these big budget films, right? Because it's like, you know, we're seeing that, right? So now, like, when we see them tap in with people like you, that gives us hope. Like, okay, yes, you see somebody who did Hood Naruto or Hood this or whatever, or worked on this with this person, and you're giving them that opportunity because, as you can see, they do it a little bit. They do it better than, you know. But I want to get, like, from your perspective, why do you think that it doesn't connect so well with the big name people, but then, you know, people like you on the come up, it connects with, like, even better?
The way I look at it is like there's some people in, you know, let's just say, you know, the most live action anime that people absolutely don't want to talk about, the Dragon Ball Evolution. They're, you know, nobody first, you know, everybody's like, oh, it's horrible. I'm like, okay, let's just boil it down. Who was the team members?
Yeah.
And most of them did not know anything about the culture of Dragon Ball. That's the tough part. They just looked at highlights and called it a day. You know what I'm saying? So like it's almost scary of like the people behind us. I just had a conversation with somebody about a company, and you know, can't say too much, but literally, you know, they're like, yo, you know, Irv knows what he's talking about. And I'm looking at it. They're like, no, we was going to go this direction, which could have completely botched the whole thing. I'm like, no, no, that's not how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, because like with Hollywood, there's a weird generational gap with Hollywood. You know, they want to go the cinema route, make it realistic and all stuff. Like, you know, us kids, you know, is okay with this, settle for this, do it this way. You know, this is the actual story. So when it comes to like, I do get inspiration seeing that. Like, for example, like there's I saw pictures leaked of Powerpuff Girls, and I saw the pictures were leaked. Now, keep in mind, I had a Powerpuff Girls idea since 2019. I didn't know where the direction I was going to go. And then when CW said like, hey, you know, we're going to do a Powerpuff Girl, I'm like, you know, and I saw the pictures leaked. I was just like, everybody was tearing it apart. Like, this is horrible. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to put my project out before theirs just to see what they think. I put out a Powerpuff Girl project. Not gonna lie, I got torn apart online at first because they mistakenly thought I was CW's.
Right.
Which is fine. But at the same time, they're like, what universe that Mojo Jojo's an anime character? So it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. So like, going back to your question with seeing, from my perspective, seeing these companies do, now I'm seeing that like they're kind of paying attention, like, okay, we got to really pay attention to these animes and all that stuff. Yeah. Like, for example, like the One Piece live action for Netflix is going to be it. So I'm actually excited about it, because just seeing the people that are fans of it and the whole cast is fans of it, I'm like, gives me
that gives me hope. That gives me hope. I'm still on the, because here's the thing. I was 100% sure. I said, oh my, they're going to get it right with Cowboy Bebop. There's no way they're botching this. And then it kind of, I was like, so because like up until Cowboy Bebop, And that's the thing. I was like, we just need one to get it right. Because once we get it right, and so like I was kind of upset, but then I was like, I reflect. I said, you know what? There was a lot that was significantly better with Cowboy Bebop than everything else.
No, Cowboy Bebop was. I didn't think it was. Cowboy Bebop wasn't this bad. I don't think it was as bad. I thought it was solid. I could tell whoever was behind it didn't know too much of the lore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was more the person, whoever had their foot into it did not know too much of the lore. But it visually and all that stuff, I thought it was,
visually it was great. And that's and that gave me way more hope because like, you look at like the Full Metal Alchemist live action or the Attack on Titan live action. Assassination Classroom was actually pretty decent, and I like, to me, the two live actions that I'm like, all right, it's decent that I can stand. One is like, all right, Assassination Classroom. I was like, all right, that's pretty decent. And then I know a lot of people split on it, but Kikaguri, I thought that they did decent with their live action. There's not much that you need to do CGI wise, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. But it was like, but like I know like Death Note let me down. I did not like the Death Note Netflix adaptation.
I'm telling you, it's people. It's just some people just don't know, and it's almost like, yo, grab somebody like for example, like grab Mark from RDC, grab Vader, grab Caleb City, grab people that are like in like grab people that are like like submersed into the stuff, you know what I'm saying, that grew up with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I was in the writer's room with Dragon Ball Evolution, I would have been like, if you guys are gonna go the Saiyan route, at least touch on the origins of a little bit of the origins before leading up to, like, if you're gonna go the Dragon Ball route, touch the origins of Goku leading up to the tournament. He's fighting King Piccolo. I think that would have been. I think people would have been satisfied of the tournament. You know what I'm saying? And people would have been like, let's do more. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the Raditz.
You could have went heavy on the martial arts, But here's another thing. From the get-go, too. Right off the rip, when they told me the opening, like, okay, I know we don't talk about this movie, but now we're going to break it down real quick.
Right.
The opening scene, when he goes to school and he calls Nimbus and he pulls up in the yellow beetle as Nimbus. Right there, if I was in that writer's room, I would have been like, all right, stop, hold up. Like,
school, just the school alone, just the school alone, I would have been like, Goku goes to school. No,
right? Like, you talking about the guy who only wants to fight, who doesn't want to get a job, who barely takes care of his kid because he wants to fight? Like, he's not gonna go to school. Is it a fighting school? If you turn it to a fighting school, I'll understand. Like, if you get some training, but just a school, and then I was like, the Nimbus cloud, and that it goes back to what you said. They want to make it practical. Oh, people can't fly on the clouds. In Dragon Ball Z, they can. Like,
exactly.
you got a whole alien taking over the world. Why are you taking liberties? Like, oh, okay, the alien taking over the world. We can allow that, but we cannot allow him to fly on the cloud. Like, why? If you're gonna go all in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's But so I mean, I'm still open to One Piece being good because I love One Piece so much. And
I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
What's your favorite arc?
Ooh, my favorite arc. I love the Alabasta arc.
Oh yeah,
I do like the Alabasta arc. Alabasta, it goes from probably my top 3 arcs: Alabasta, Skypiea, and believe it or not, people kind of like sleeping on it, but I liked I do like the Water 7. Don't get me wrong. Water 7 was like the pinnacle of everything. I love Waters, but I currently like the Wano arc right now because the Wano arc is kind of having me like, yo, I'm caught up even on manga right now because mangas they're tripping right now. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, we ain't gonna say I want to spoil it, but yeah, they tripping.
Yeah, they're really.
Skypiea, I love Sky. Here's the thing: I realized Skypiea made me realize that I love a good villain that has a god complex. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like Bro was there, but Dressrosa is my favorite arc because that's when I realized Doffy is probably the most nefarious, vile villain ever. Yeah. Like the stuff that he was, I said, bro, like as I'm watching, knowing, I'm like, okay, I know we're gonna get past this arc, but I'm like, yo, somebody got to kill this nigga. Shoot him in the head. Somebody got to off him because he is doing way too much damage out here. Like, it's like the fact that you make the king, and spoiler alert, I'm gonna spoil it. The fact that you make the king seem like he saved the day, and people like, oh, look at our king, and then he just get the slashing niggas down. I said, yo, like, what is going on here?
Doflamingo is cold. I'm not gonna lie. He's probably one of the coldest villains in that whole. Like, and then what you said about Sky P about NL, like the only he's not even a pirate. He's the only villain that has no bounty. Yeah. That no one knew about. Oh, yeah. He's cold. He's cold.
Oh, man, I love it because I also love a good arc where our MCs get like to the brink of like, you like, yo, is niggas gonna make it? Like
oh yeah. No, like currently right now in Wano, I'm just like, now hold on now.
Hey man, listen here. Is somebody not gonna make it out here? Because it's like, yo, because in anime, anybody can go at any time, and unless it's Dragon Ball Z, where you got the plot armor of the Dragon Balls, you can wish anybody back. Lord. Most animes is like, yo, all right, hey, this may be it for this character.
Exactly, man.
Like, everybody has the stereotypical on what a black geek is. Are you familiar with the term blerd?
Blerd, no.
Right. Some people said it came off of Scrubs. Some people said it came off the internet. I don't honestly really know.
Don't you see the skin, the eyebrows, the hair?
Yo, my geeks still rock, Dunks or Jordans or whatever.
Did I do that?
It's exciting. It's like, holy, oh, my dog is gonna start barking. It's all right. She's excited about it too.
And same as you said, like a barbershop talk, like we would go into really in-depth conversations about these theories and like, well, what if and how come?
It's not unusual to be
right, but we talk about anime, video games, comic books, and stuff like that, but when you hear us talk about it, the passion sounds like we arguing Jordan and Bron.
What do you mean? What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
Like, it sounds like barbershop talk.
Because you don't know the history, don't mean it ain't happened, dog.
You broke that down right there.
But when you see the black geek, you don't see that. You see the socially awkward glasses. Well, this is me. And that's not a lot of us. A lot of us do sound and talk like us. You know what I'm saying?
Because it becomes stereotypical, as if that's where our strength comes from.
I don't know the geek that you talked about before. I know the geek you're talking about right now, though.
It was sort of a call sign so we could find each other on message boards.
Anime gives you life lessons throughout that whole thing. Like, there's not one anime that I know of that doesn't teach you to never give up.
It's just like, I just love seeing us go into the world and go into these different spaces and create things that weren't there before.
And then it was like Miles Morales is like the normal, black person in the United States.
That was my first Blerd moment, was seeing, Storm on the X-Men cartoon series. And I was like, wow, that's a black woman and she's strong, she's powerful.
That's what I want for us. I want us to be that voice.
But but I again, going back to your work and your anime inspired, because in your Powerpuff thing, you killed off a character that's just like, yo, did he?
I have no problem killing people off. I have no problem killing people off.
It's like, it's that twisted turn, but it's like, we've been getting more and more properties like that. Game of Thrones, pretty much. I think Game of Thrones really conditioned the nerd community to know anybody can get it at any time.
Oh yeah, no, Game of Thrones is like that inspiration, that inspiration. Because when I wrote Powerpuff Girls, the way I gave out the scripts to the girls, and I gave out this partial script to certain people.
Okay.
So no one knew what was gonna happen.
Nobody knew the twist. Okay.
Until the girls, they're like, oh, you're killing off the professor? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna kill off the professor. They're like, they're like, that's a twist. I'm like, I promise you, no one is ready. I promise you. And the moment I did it and showed it in DreamCon, everybody lost their mind. They're like, nah, he's not dead. No, he's really dead. He's really dead. You know what I'm saying? And then, the second one, I called my boy Vader. I was like, yo, I'm gonna kill off Bubbles. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I broke it down and I'm like, bro.
And out of all the people, Bubbles.
if I killed off Bliss, people are not attached to Bliss.
Yeah.
So it won't hit as hard. Blossom, people are not gonna really bat an eye too much. But people like Blossom, but they don't bat an eye. Buttercup, people would just be mad.
Yeah, people would just be mad. But Bubbles is that's that heart one. It's like,
it's good. It's a heart-wrenching one. So I was just like, I'm gonna kill off one of the main ones. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool.
As an actor, that's one of my, like, listen here. I said I got individual small goals that I want to do that I don't like, that that's not important to anybody else but me. I want to die on screen, but I want one of those deaths that like women cry about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when Nas, like, you know what I'm saying? At Belly, you know what I'm saying? When Nas got shot, or like, I want one of those ones, like, or, you know what I'm saying? And then I want to do a true hood movie. I'm talking about, I got the hookup, baller blocking. Like, I want to do a true hood movie. Like, these are the things that I'm like, nobody else really cares about, but I want to do so bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it's one of those things. So killing people off, like I said, like, it seems like it's like once you commit to killing off a beloved character, you're like, all right, what's going to have the big impact? And knowing somebody like Bubbles, like, that would be a big impact. Like that.
Because I love, stuff like that. Like, I think what kind of set it off was Infinity War.
Oh yeah, tore our hearts out.
That would actually spark a huge like inspiration.
Yeah,
because I hate the typical hero saving the day, hugging his wife and kids, and then he live happy ever after.
Yeah,
nah. What's the cause and effect? I want to know. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that when he said you should have aimed for the head and snapped his finger, I'm like, what happened? And saw people start dying. I'm like, yo, and they ended it.
He didn't end it.
And I stood up. I'm like, that's cinema. That's cinema.
My theater was so quiet because everybody was confused. Remember, there was no roll credits. There was no it was like there was no Easter egg. It was just like, once it happened, lights went on and everybody was like, wait, what?
I stood up.
Hold up.
I stood up. I clapped. People are screaming.
You are a villain. You are a villain.
No, I love the villain role. Because the thing is, if you break it down, every cinema that has a hero and a villain, everybody likes the villain more and relates the villain to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's really like, because I really think of, like, growing up as a kid, there's a lot. I could be a real villain if I need to. You know, I could be a real villain of the things I've been through mentally and everything. And I'm like, yo, I understand. I know why you want the world to crumble. You know what I'm saying? I understand why. You know what I'm saying? I love a good villain role. If a villain or person that's a anti-hero, whatever, if they do such a good job to the point I hate you, I like you. Like, for example, Homelander.
Yeah.
Though I hate that man, but he did such a good job. I was like, yo, I like you. Sang-Woo from Squid Game. Everybody hates Sang-Woo. After that one episode he turned on Ali.
Yeah.
I like Sang-Woo.
I got a challenge for you then. I got a challenge for you. This is an idea that I had that I was like, ooh, I want to do, but I don't have the resources, but I feel like you would be able to pull it off perfectly. All right. So this is what you do. And I'm gonna slow walk you through it, but the reveal is the punch, because it's like what you do is like you show this single dad You know what I'm saying? And the single dad going through life. You make and do the video. You know, you saw him down on his luck, trying to get his money up. You know what I'm saying? Burying himself into work. You know what I'm saying? Single dad trying to make it ends meet for him and his daughter and everything like that. And you know what I'm saying? He gets an idea, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna push through. And his ideas don't be working. It don't be working. But he's like, I know I can do this, and I gotta take it the next step. And then right when he says, I gotta take it the next step, you see him look over at his daughter, and then you see him look over at a dog, and then you reveal that he's Shao Tucker. But you gotta make the people like empathize with this single dad, like, yo, he gonna get it right. Because then when the punch happened, people like, oh no,
yeah.
Like, I don't want to empathize with this guy.
No, you're right.
Because that's it. My theory is if you don't tell people that this is a Shao Tucker origin story, but you get like people like on like some pursuit of happiness, like start loving a character because they're down on it. Because everybody love an underdog. Because remember, Shao Tucker, he's a villain. But remember, the whole reason why he was trying to do his research and everything, he was down on his luck. He was trying to, and he was trying to figure out this code. You know what I'm saying? But then he was like, all right, if I fuse my dog and my daughter together, maybe I can crack the code. And he did crack the code. Right. It was just unethical as hell.
Yeah, no. Anything like with children, everyone's like, wait, why would you do that?
So I always said, ooh, if I ever get the resources, I'm gonna create a project where people really empathize with the main character. I'm not gonna tell you who the character is and anything, but you're not gonna know what you watching until the very, very end when you see.
No, I feel that. No, because there's a couple things I had, like a couple ideas I have that, like, you know, I wanted to do. You know, I'm right now in a weird another pivoting moment. I want to do a live action Kids Next Door.
I was about to ask you about that. You had dropped that, and I wanted to know, like, have you made any progress on it? Because I remember,
it's written out.
Yeah,
it's written out. I was going to be the villain in this one.
Oh,
yeah, I was going to be the villain of this one. I was going to be -1, and going against the Kids Next Door. I used to be the original one, and but you know, I saw things that like the Kids Next Door operation was doing, I wasn't liking. And then Father, you know, the villain in that, took me under the wing, and then he trains me. And then as a kid, then ends up getting killed by the Kids Next Door. And then I start adapting his powers. Then I go after the Kids Next Door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that one, I had a Legends of Zelda, but I was going to talk about the story of Ganondorf. Not a lot of people really pay attention to Ganondorf's story, but like technically, he tried to make friends with them until Zelda's father's like, nah, you Gerudos are bad people, and they start murking everybody. Now keep in mind, as Ganondorf, I want to see the kingdom fall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now you really sparked the king of evil out of me. You know what I'm saying? So like the Ocarina of Time, like they kind of like briefly say it, but like if you really pay attention, Ganondorf tried to make friends with them. So like, you know, hey, the Gerudos and, you know, the Hyrule people, let's become together. You know what I'm saying? You know, it kind of affects like today time with, you know, the race society and everything. It's just like it's relatable, you know what I mean?
But you know what I love about, like, you know, and I want to get into your process real quick too. But what I love about how you're the stories that you're choosing to adapt and tell is that you are choosing things that haven't been really explored heavily, like, you know what I'm saying, of a lore. So that way, if a company does see it, the reason why it's easier for them to latch onto it or even tap in with you, say, hey, let's really do this or anything like that, is because you are giving story and backstory to something that wasn't there. I had interviewed Cleo Thomas, and he had did, you know, My Hood Academia, right? And he was, and I was talking to him. I was like, you know, they had My Hero Academia live action. They haven't really did, and then it was like they haven't even really tapped into black kids and black characters and everything like that. And I said, what's dope is you guys are laying that foundation that is like, now they got something that they got to go up against, right? I bet you CW is they shit they bad when they saw your stuff, like, damn it, like, hey, okay, wait, we not here. And so now it's like you know what I'm saying? It's like now it's like it goes back to that realm. For the longest, there was a Dragon Ball fan film that was done by the Saiyans, right? That motherfucker was so dope that it was like, yo, this is the standard now. You know what I'm saying? When they did that fan casting of the Mortal Kombat that was on YouTube, NetherRealm purchased it from the creators, like, hey, let's put that on Mortal Kombat X. That's the whole reason that it was on Mortal Kombat X, is because the fan-made film did so good online that people was like, okay, now let's attach this actually to the project, right? And so it's like, I look at that like, yo, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that you are picking, like, I always look at it from an aspect of, if I'm a company, it's like, okay, yeah, my main character is Link, and I talk about Zelda and that whole thing and everything, and I got all these extra characters. I'm like, I got them there. We got a little bit, on our wiki page about them. But if I see somebody doing it, I'm like, ooh, okay, maybe I can explore that a little bit more. Maybe we can build this out and add lore to it, and stuff like that. But I wanted to ask you your process. Like, what is your process of picking the stories, the projects, what you're going to produce?
Like I'll use Powerpuff Girls as an example. So, obviously I'll go through like childhood cartoons, like, let me do this. Next thing I know, there's a time period, like, okay, what story should I pick?
Right.
I will lock myself in my room and binge watch a series. I will binge watch a series and I won't leave until something sticks. Yeah. So I'll look at something, and then when I see something, like probably like the smallest thing, like for example, my first Powerpuff Girls, I did I did the backstory of Mojo Jojo, which therefore it was a brief 15-minute episode about how Mojo Jojo was the father of the girls. I'm like, okay, let me expand on that world. I'm like, right. but how do I make it? They're not tiny little girls. I'm like, okay, they're in college. Mojo has pent up anger, all that stuff, and from there, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Right, so like my process, I like to take one small thing, like I'll just kind of like do deep dive in research, and I'll watch a series first, and then kind of like, once something like resonate with me, then I'll sit there. I'm like, okay, what do I take with this 3-minute information and make it into a 30-minute information? Same goes for my Powerpuff Girls Part 2. I did the backstory of him. Yeah. Him doesn't even have a backstory. But when I looked up his information, his name is His Infernal Majesty. It's an acronym. And I was like, okay, so he's a manifestation. So I'm like, this guy used to be a person before. And the more I'm diving into it, I'm like, he's a professor's brother. He has to be. I'm like, because every time they're in the scene together, they're always laughing. Yeah. And I'm like, they gotta be related. So ever since then, I just kind of like, made my own backstory. It was a tough one. It was a bold one. But it worked. It worked. And then I have my One Piece. I'm not gonna about One Piece live action. I'm doing a villain that's based off of Law's backstory. Ooh. And his father was a scientist that could have saved the people from Amber Lead syndrome, and the government tipped him off not to.
Oh, that's gonna be fire.
Okay, so yeah, you know what I'm saying. So like, it was like, I was like, because One Piece touched on everything, so it's almost like you almost got to make sure you pay attention. So I made a story that there's a scientist from the North Blue that could have saved the people from Amber Lead syndrome, and yeah.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Like I said, but that also is a testament to your creativity. The fact that you're able to pull something small and then expand it to something so big, like, it's really dope. And then it's also dope that you guys have so many like cosplayers that are within your circle, because like that's also dope to me, seeing you know, the creation of these characters, and knowing that they're the creators that are involved in it are like, you know, legit dope ass cosplayers, you know. Do you ever go backwards? Like, do you ever see a cosplay like, ooh, I want to do something with that person's cosplay or that character moving forward?
Oh, I be searching for everybody. I be searching, and sometimes like I be stumbling across like people on the internet, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep you in my back pocket. I reach out to them. I'm gonna keep you in my back pocket. I have something for you. Just wait. You know what I'm saying? there's a person I saw. He had a Beerus cosplay. I've been hunting this man down. Like he probably has the best Beerus cosplay I've ever seen out of everybody. So it was just like the cat face, all that stuff. I'm like, bro, this is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
How do I put this in my film?
Well, but that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a director, knowing that people, like I said, you never know who's watching, and knowing that, you know what I'm saying, there's a director out there that's keeping tabs. Like, okay, all right, like as a resource, you're pretty much building a database of people that you can pull from, you know, whenever you get the opportunity and whenever it fits and everything. So I want to give you a full circle moment. All right. So, you know, I tell you, I do my research. I'm really good at real quick. When did you guys actually start working with Netflix?
I would say around like July 2020.
All right. So on October 18th, 2018, you tweeted to somebody and you said, soon I'm going to be on Netflix, so you might want to watch my show.
I said that?
Yes. That was October 18th, 2018, somebody had tweeted something about Netflix, and you had replied back, soon I'm going to be on Netflix, so you might want to watch my show. And to me, I said, yo, that's crazy, because 2 years later, here you are working with Netflix. And
that's crazy.
That's a full circle moment right there, bro.
I'm sitting here like, I said that.
But like, that got to be dope, because you literally manifested that right there, bro.
Yeah, no, because there's a lot of things I have marinated. I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna sound like Denzel. I'm leaving here with something. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's a lot of things that you know, even behind the scenes, I talked to a couple people. I did not know I tweeted that.
It's still up. Like I said, whenever you get a chance, go back.
Oh, I'm going to. I think I'm like. There's a couple things that, like, you know, I talked about, like, okay, at some point somebody's gonna take me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I even like wrote on my notes, like, I'm gonna have a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know how. Yeah. Somebody, like, you know, from making a Wingstop commercial to Doritos, I'm like, there's no way a company is gonna sit there and say, we're not gonna give this kid a chance. Like,
especially for the theatrics that you do. Like, you know, a Super Bowl commercial, they gotta catch your eye. You see an animated version of anything, you'll be like, wait, what is this?
Oh no, and I know for a fact the moment that happens, like right now, I'll say this. I have an Angry Birds commercial.
Ooh.
Think of the
you ain't gotta tell me more. I already Angry Birds and Irving Lambert. Come on.
Oh yeah, and that's like I like to captivate and like touch people's eyes, like, you know. And obviously we grew up in the nerd culture, you know what I'm saying. Like, first, you know, we got roasted growing up about it, but you know, now, you know, people are getting paid for it, and now it's almost jokes on them. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, I like to incorporate a lot of nerd references in a lot of videos, like video game, like with Kel's video.
Oh yeah, we broke it down. There's so much in it.
It's literally Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
literally Scott Pilgrim, you know, versus the world. I was just like, yo, let's do the Scott Pilgrim versus the world mixed with like Demon Slayer, and then, you know, I'm gonna mix this in here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and from there, his team was just like, what the hell is it? They're like, they did not even know what I was gonna do. They're like, you know what? You know,
and it got to feel good when a client really loves it, right? Because Kel could not stop talking about that trailer. I saw them on Wendy Williams talking about it. Good Morning America talking. Like, everywhere he was at on promoting that book, he was talking and going crazy about this trailer, and rightfully so. It was every bit of the hype that he hyped it up. But I know for you, I mean, you are. I mean, we're always going to be our biggest fans. So you knew you snapped on it and everything like that. But like to see his joy, you know what I'm saying, and also to see your work at all these major areas, I know that had to be a huge moment for you.
It was crazy. I still, you know, it's one of those things. Like I feel like sometimes we be in the simulation, so I don't be thinking like it's real. But like, you know, but realistically, you know, people. You know, the people that are in it, you know, the people that are behind the scenes, like, you know, clearly this wouldn't have been all me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like realistically, like, you know, visually, like, you know, obviously putting my foot into like, you know, the aesthetics, what's gonna happen. When I hit up my boy Drew, like he knew what time it was. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so and you know, respectfully to your team, when I'm saying like you, I am talking about.
I just want to make sure they get their flowers too. Course, you know what I'm saying? No, I know what you mean. I just want to make sure they get their flowers too, because you know, creating something like that and seeing it all over the place. Yeah, I was just like, yo. I'm like, what's next? Hey, you know, and then I just troll on the internet. Yo, prices went up, bro.
Of course, you got to listen. Every time I accomplish something that's big, I post the Marlo from the Wire, where you be like, hey, and of course the price of the brick is going up. Like, hey,
exactly,
the price of the brick is up, baby.
I always do like on my stories, like the Doflamingo's laughter when he's over. Like, I always have something. If I accomplish something, I have somebody laughing. Like I use there's a meme of Caleb City laughing and going to bed. I use that all the time.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 more segments and I get you out of here. So one of our segments that we do is called Hypotheticals, right? And so being that you are a big Blerd and you're creative, I want to know, we have 3, this is a 2-layered question. We have 3 apocalyptic scenarios. Which one do you believe that you would have the more likelihood to survive? So we have the zombie apocalypse, the alien apocalypse, or the robot apocalypse. Which one does Irving Lambert believe that he can survive the most?
Zombie, for sure.
Zombie. Okay, so now we're going to break it down. So we're going to start off with the traditional Walking Dead style zombie. How many years are you giving yourself on that time?
I would say 15 years.
15 years? Yeah, okay, 15 all right. All right, so now we're going to amp it up. We're talking about the World War Z, the 28 days later, the sprinters, the one that run at you, come at you, the rage zombies. How many years you giving yourself on that?
Ooh, I would say about a solid 5 to 10. 5 to 10.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the last one. Now this is the one that's always the catalyst is like, okay, we have the Resident Evil zombie. So any animal can be a zombie. You got Nemesis running around. You got the like that style of zombie. What are you giving?
If I could pick a location, if I was in Raccoon City, it probably wouldn't be no more than like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Now, but if I was in like a place like Northern Michigan where it's always cold, I'm surviving like 5 or 10 years.
Okay,
easily.
Now, are you able to live off the land? Because that's one of the things for me that I'm like, I theorize I can. I've never had to, so I don't know if I can for real.
Oh no, I can for sure. Like, okay. You know, they're like learning how to camp.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, of course you know how to live off the land.
Like, oh yeah, for sure. When it comes to like surviving out, you know, I can for sure do it.
Now, this is the funniest question that I always like to ask when dealing with zombies. All right, you're in a group, you get bit. Are you telling your group? Yep. If nobody saw you get bit and you got bit, you telling or not?
Yep.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh no. I
a lot of people wouldn't.
No, that's the thing. You know, that's the thing. Like COVID was one of the things that like it was a staple for me to know if you know what I'm saying, like if people got bit. You know what I'm saying? So when I caught COVID one time, I told people like, "Yo, I caught COVID." Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? But there are some people that didn't tell that caught COVID. So which maybe opened my eyes like, yo, if you got bit by a zombie, I would have been dead by you.
What's also a fun thing. So we did this at DreamCon last year because we was doing a live podcast in the Dream Lounge, right? And a fun thing that I like to do is like, you know, when the zombie apocalypse break out, like right now, you know, the people that are around you are going to be your first crew, you know, until you find like, you know, until you find your safe place or your people or whatever. Like that's going to be the people you're going to have to travel with. You're going to have to walk the world with, right? So then you got to like gauge your survival. So like at that time at the Dream Lounge, you were like, all right, everybody in this room, now let's talk about it. And we started breaking it down. I was like, all right, so who knows how to farm? Because if we're creating this community, we need somebody who knows how to grow. We had somebody in there. I was like, all right, so now who has any medical training? Because if shit goes down, like somebody got to be able to know medical stuff. You know what I'm saying? We had somebody there. We had some people who were gun trained and everything like that. It's like next time you're doing a set and you guys are filming, just gauge, just look out and say, okay, what is if the zombie apocalypse broke out now, what's our likelihood of surviving? And just kind of seeing what you got part of your team.
It would have been like, for me, it would have been like farming and gun training for sure. Gun
for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Farming,
well, see, that's what I said. I would be a really good soldier because like I'm trying, like I got good leadership qualities, so I could potentially be a good leader. But I know for a fact, like as far as patrol, gun control, going out, being a soldier, you know what I'm saying? If we got to take over some shit, I'm on that. I'm on that team. You know what I'm saying? Farming, I never had to farm a day in my life. I never had to grow food or anything like that. So like I got the concept of it, but I never had to. So I can't say that I could do that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where I'm like I would definitely have to be a part of a good faction. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's fact. No, that's facts. No, yeah. When it comes to like, you know, survival, like I already know what time it is. Like I'm going to somewhere that's cold where zombies are not gonna go. I'm gonna be literally in a deer camp. In a tree. Go ahead, because I'm gonna hit you with a bullet. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so now let's get into the dreaded top fives. All right, so I'm gonna do a first one because I do want to get your top 5 director influences or people directors that you look up to.
Okay, not in particular order.
Doesn't have to be in order.
Okay, I like Quentin Tarantino.
Ooh,
I do like Quentin Tarantino. Edgar Wright.
Solid.
Now whoever I forgot what the director's name, but whoever did Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah, who did that one? I'm gonna look at it while you listen.
I like his style. I like it. What else?
Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like them.
Yeah.
So Ryan Coogler.
Super solid.
Ryan Coogler. Steven Spielberg.
Ooh.
Steven Spielberg.
Super solid.
He really is like a real OG nerd.
Yeah. And to me, like I said, the fact, like here's what I tell people all the time. Steven Spielberg gave us Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park still holds up to today. I'm talking about the very, very first one.
Right.
That wherewithal to use animatronics, and those animatronics still look so good. Like I get it. Like I mean, there's moments that you can tell that it's a robot, but I'm just like, yo, he gave us the first true visualizations of dinosaurs. You know what I'm saying? Like to the point where literally that is how dinosaurs look to us. Now, obviously, they keep on trying to change it. Like, oh yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rex really had feathers. I'm like, nah. That's my Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's how my raptors sound. Like, you know, that he killed it. He killed it. And that was his breakdown.
Was it his last movie he killed was it Ready Player One?
Oh my God, Ready Player One was so good.
And like he really stepped up and said, I'm gonna show you why they call me Steven Spielberg. I'm like,
I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna
show you why. I'm like, dang, I'm like, that's years of putting, like that's years of work. That's not like no overnight thing.
Right.
That's years of work.
So you know I've already heard your top 5 anime characters. I mean, animes, but I do want to go your top 5 MCs. I feel like that'd be a different list for you. So your top 5 main characters. So not the anime in general, but just MCs.
Oh man, I obviously everybody knows I'm a Luffy fan. I'm a Luffy fan.
Big Luffy gang over here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I like people. I think it grown on to people, but I like Bakugo. I like Bakugo. Bakugo, I love from the beginning. Let's see. Oh, I got to give it to my boy Vegeta all the time. You know, yeah.
Hey, Prince,
Big Prince is here. Who, man, it's a tough one. Gone.
Oh, solid.
Gone. I really like Gone. Oh man, let's dive in deeper. I'm trying to think now. People are gonna be like, "What?" And there's a reason why. Because there's a reason to it. Ash Ketchum.
Okay.
Now, I know, but Ash Ketchum, just the Pokemon genre alone, helped me mentally as a kid to get out of a dark space.
I can see that.
And it really forever, I will be grateful for Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? To this day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Ash Ketchum would be like, I wouldn't say I watch Pokemon like now.
Right.
But I play all the games.
Of course, you got to. So, and then Pokemon was, like Pokemon and Gundam was your first two animes that you dove into.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah, Gundam. Yeah. Well, my next one, my runner up was Burning Gundam for sure, for sure.
All right. So we do a thing on this show called recommendations. It could be something that you're watching, you're reading, you're listening to, but something that you think the listeners should check out, outside of your own property and stuff that you're working on. So what is a recommendation that you think that our listeners and viewers should check out?
Okay, so if you are starting out in anime, I usually tell people that here's the starter animes. You should start on either One Punch Man, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, Death Note, and those are the starter animes to start off with. You know what I'm saying? Like I personally, I feel like those are the starter animes. I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm missing one, but Attack on Titans. Attack on Titans is like it's enough for it's enough for people to dive in and be like, okay, I understand, the lore of anime and all that stuff. Cool. Now, if it goes to if you want complex story, if you want like story and all that stuff, I usually tell people Dr. Stone.
I love Dr. Stone so much.
Dr. Stone is really good. Dr. Stone, if you're really ready for the journey, One Piece.
Like you say, you're really ready for the journey.
I love it. I feel like there's not enough.
Yeah. That's gonna be a hot take. I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna use that at the promo.
I feel like there's not enough. There's not enough episodes.
Irving Lambert thinks One Piece doesn't have enough episodes.
I know. I don't. Oh man. There's Naruto, if you want to dive in deeper, you know what I'm saying? Like even watching the fillers, obviously the fillers.
I watched the fillers. So I got into Naruto late and I watched the fillers and everybody was like, why did you watch the fillers? I was like, I feel like if you're watching an anime for the first time, you gotta watch it in awe. So I watched it all, you know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, if I go back and watch it, I'm gonna watch, the non-filler list one, so I can just, watch it in totality that way. But I was like, I feel like I got to. I'm like, without the filler, you don't get the episode of them trying to find Kakashi's face. You know what I'm saying? Like that was such a fun episode,
Yeah, right. It's one of those things. It's like, it's not that. It's not that deep. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to complex story, I would say that. What other thing? Sword Art Online, I feel like it's solid. I would say Sword Art Online.
I feel like that's again, it goes back to the complexities of it, because I feel like for me, once I watched Death Note, that really opened up my world to anime can get really serious and complex, right? And then I watched Sword Art Online. I feel like once you watch something like a Death Note or a Tokyo Ghoul or something like that, or what's the one where old boy goes back in time to try to stop the killer? Erased. If you watch Erased or something like
that one.
You should watch that one. Hey, that one is solid. Do you know about that one?
I'm definitely not hip.
So this is the trailer. So this is not a spoiler alert. What happens is this guy is walking out and he's seeing he realized that there's this little girl missing. And he's like, wait a minute, I swear I saw it. He just remembers seeing this. And then he's like, wait, what's happening? He's like, wait a minute, who was that guy? And he starts remembering all these things. And then he has this memory of when he was a kid, that this little girl ended up going missing, and it was a serial killer killing all these little kids. And so he was like, oh shit, I think he's back. And for whatever reason, him having that traumatic experience and everything kicks him back in time, and he's at the same time when that little girl, before she was about to go missing. So now he's remembering, okay, I saw the guy, I remember seeing him and that little girl missing in my time, so let me see if I can find him in this time and stop him. And that's
you went mute. You went mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah. You good? There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kicks off everything, you know what I'm saying? And now he's going back in time, trying to stop a killer. It's a really good, deep anime. But it's one of those things, like once you watch something serious like Death Note or something like that, it kicks you into, well, let me see what other mystery or whatever serial, like, you know, like killer ones or drama one that's not a shonen or not a slice of life and everything like that. So
no, that's facts. That's the same thing, I guess, with me with when it came to Hunter x Hunter. I'm like, bro, I wish they continue on. Like, I read the manga, you know what I'm saying? They're tripping. You know,
are you manga over anime or anime over manga or both?
I'm both. I'm not like crazy. I'm not like that type of person. Like, I read the manga. I usually like the cross reference to see what's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, for example, like the Marine Ford, like in One Piece, like, you know, when Whitebeard got half his face taken out in the manga, you know what I'm saying, do it in anime. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, you know.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's pretty cool to see, like, you know, what adaptation they're like, okay, this might be too dark for
Yeah, because you know what? What's it? Big Mama? What that's her name, right? Big Mama? I'm blanking.
Big Mom?
Yeah, when they get into her backstory. So I watched the anime first, right? And so I was lost. I said, wait. I was like, did they leave the island? I said, what happened to the lady and the kids? And I was like, wait, because, you know, remember the way they animated it, I thought like, okay, they threw her the birthday party, she passed out from eating, and then they left. Spoiler alert, by the way, but I'm sorry, I got to. But so then I'm like, so I went down this rabbit hole, like, wait, what really happened? Because I'm like, this makes no sense. I like, did she sell the kids and then just chose to leave her on the island? And then when you read the manga and they really explain what happened, I said, yo, and then you go back and watch the clip and you see the joy of her, you see the kids popping up, you see her, oh yeah, I said, oh my God, I said, this is the most scariest character in the world.
No, Big Mom is probably the scariest character, and probably one of the scariest characters out of everybody. I think more scarier than Kaido.
Because it's that blind power that she doesn't know she had. Once she blacks out, it's a wrap. All right, man. So where can my people find you at, and what do you need them to support you on?
I mean, shoot. So it's on Irving Lambert on all platforms. So make everything simple. You know what I'm saying? You know,
at least you can do.
It just make it fairly simple. You know, I'm usually active on Instagram. I'm usually on Twitter, always trolling. I'm always trolling on Twitter. But I'm usually heavy on Instagram. But like, you know, when I post my films on, you know, YouTube, you know, it'd be on there as well too. But yeah, Irving Lambert on all platforms, TikTok, all that stuff. So yeah.
All right,
and
man.
Then, I was just saying, like, and you know, soon enough, y'all hear it first. There is an original coming out. So that's gonna be a scary one. That's a scary.
Okay, I was gonna wrap up, but just one last question. I know y'all are known for dropping something extremely dope, doing something extremely dope around DreamCon. What are we expecting here?
Oh, One Piece.
One Piece?
A live action One Piece. You know, I'll let Vader announce it, but he is dropping something interesting.
Okay.
But he does have a Blade versus Ghost Rider on the way. And then I know
he been dropping the screenshots of it.
Yeah, it looks crazy. Blade versus Ghost Rider. My boy Pierre is doing a Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, he told me about. He was just telling us about that. Yeah.
And then my other boy Doc is doing Hancock live. Oh yeah, like, you know.
All right.
So So yeah, so we cook it a little bit. We cook it. We all cook it. So like right now, like by One Piece, no one has seen a thing, and it looks insane. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I'm gonna do a One Piece 2 because exactly behind the scenes is the toughest, like VFX wise. So you don't make the the stretching look goofy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little tough. I'm not gonna lie.
I can imagine, bro. I can imagine. But man, all right, man. Well, this has been 101 with Deuces. I've been your boy Deuces. This has been the amazing, talented Irving Lambert, and we are out. Peace.
Yes,